Welcome everybody to a new episode of Flower Circus Talks. Today a very special episode with Arjan Poland from Lilies and More. So that's going to be a lot of fun today. We all know, or most of you know, while I have a really big echo. Arjan, that's at your place. I think I hear it twice. What I wanted to say, we have a lot of talks about the flower. That the flower prices are quite high. But it's not only in the floral industry. In the bulb industry, a lot of things is happening are happening as well. So that's why I invited Arjan Poland to talk more about what's happening in the bulb industry. So let's quickly invite Arjan into the live stream. And there he is. Welcome. Oh, now I can't hear you. I think you need to switch on the sound somewhere because I can't hear you yet. Maybe some people are trying to, or maybe connect again. Maybe that works best to connect again. It's yeah. So he's going to connect again. Like I said, flower prices are really high, and let's see. Yeah, it's the same in the bulb prices. So let's quickly get Arjan into the live stream. Almost. Yep, there you are.
Yeah, there we are.
I can hear myself with a delay of 20 seconds. So maybe there's something there. You had Facebook open or something maybe. But now
I have everything closed for the rest. So
yeah, there we are. I can hear myself with a delay of 20 seconds. So maybe there's it's still there. You had Facebook open or something maybe. But now
I have everything closed for the rest. So I'll close down a few other things.
Yeah. 20 seconds. So maybe there's it's still there. You had Facebook open or something maybe. But now
I have everything closed for the rest. So I'll close down a few other things.
Yeah. 20 seconds. So maybe there's
Is it better now?
It's still there. I think there's something.
Technique is killing you sometimes.
I think you've got Facebook open or YouTube on another tab.
Close everything down. Everything is off.
I think you've got Facebook open or YouTube on another tab. Let me check again.
Close everything down. Everything is off.
Oh, let's see. That's technique, people. So let's hope it gets better. Yeah, like I said, bulb prices are very high. I think soon we will see this because the tulip bulbs are so expensive. The growers need security around the fields to protect their crop, their expensive crop. And let's wait until Arjan comes back in again, and hopefully without an echo. Please let me know if you hear the echo as well, or is it only me that hears the echo? Like I said, Arjan is from Lilies and More. As the name already says it, he's doing lilies and much more. Not only other crops, but he's also helping out growers worldwide, growing the best crop possible. So yeah, I can't wait to hear more from him. Next week, by the way, we have another live show. So with Max Hurto. So that's going to be fun. Same time, 3 o'clock Central European time. And I think now it's better. So let's get him back in.
Yeah, there we are.
Yeah, now it sounds much better.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, welcome.
Hi.
And it wasn't the problem that I hear you twice, but my own voice is not the best one. So if I hear myself twice.
Now there was indeed something open on the background, and that caused a tremendous delay of, let's say, 20 seconds. So that is not the way it should be.
Yeah. So before you introduce yourself and talk more about Lilies and More, what's happening? What the F is happening in the bulb market at the moment? The flower prices are crazy, but in the bulbs, sometimes here people can't even buy bulbs.
The market is definitely overheated at the moment, and that is caused by several reasons, I think. Of course, COVID is one of them. A lot of people are interested in making their house more comfortable, and therefore they're buying some more flowers.
Yeah.
And what we noticed is that due to that reason, especially here in Holland, the local production and the local flowers are extremely expensive. This causes reaction from the flower producers to purchase more bulbs for the coming crop.
Yeah.
And there is less available material in the way we see the acreage information. And besides this, it's also the situation that the growers abroad have also been making good money for their flowers. So everybody is in a positive move, and that is indeed interesting. But on the other side, it is causing some overheated reactions into the market.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable. I just last week I was in Holland, and I saw a new transport company just driving flowers. I mean, it was unbelievable. Flowers so expensive.
Yeah, it is. Bulb prices are rising, sometimes even up to 25-30%. And that is, of course, for a lot of people different. If you're not having the same information as we have, it's difficult to understand. I understand.
Yeah.
From my point of view, that.
And it's for next year. I mean, now you're buying for a high price, but you don't know what's going to happen next year. Hopefully, post-COVID, that we're out of it, and who knows that the prices will be as high as this year.
Nobody can predict that, and there is this very old saying that expensive bulbs never give you the guarantee of expensive flowers in the next year. Reality is also one of the things that we have to look at. But on the other side, there is also a reaction on the decreased acreage. And if there is less available material and the people still want to have a fulfill a year-round program, then I understand that people are purchasing in an earlier moment to set their programs in a straight way. And tulip growers have that, but lily growers have that in the same way.
Yeah, because the time when they needed to plant the young material, it was the time that COVID was at its peak, the first peak.
Yeah, correct. So a lot of people, especially in the lilies, a lot of people decided not to continue in full production. So they reduced acreage. Price level of the bulbs in the last couple of years has also not been good enough, profitable enough for the growers to continue investing in virus-free material, in continuation of existing stocks. So they reduced in acreage, and this causes less available material in the year 2021 for flower production in 2022.
Yeah. So it's actually a bit of both the increased demand and the decrease, because nobody knew what was going on or what was going to happen.
No, that's correct. That's correct. And that luckily, I think is maybe not the right word. Positive effect on COVID has been, and we noticed that from, let's say, mid of May last year, the flower prices have been recuperating from the very low levels that it had been in the crisis moment.
Yeah.
And after this, we see tremendous recovery of the price level, which is it couldn't be predicted, but it is. I think it's a good influence because everybody was in a very negative mood, and that has changed, and that is a good thing because it's better to have happy faces around than sad people.
Yeah, and luckily the people realize that if you look at flowers, or if you buy flowers, you have them in your house, you feel much happier as well.
That is one of the positive things. And then in the past, we see a lot of, let's say, people with a bit higher age buying a lot of flowers, and nowadays you see more younger people buying flowers as well. And that is because the budget, what they perhaps used to spend on other items, is now used to make the house more comfortable and to have a prettier place. People work from the house more than in the past. They cannot go to the bar, they cannot go to the restaurants, and that is had an effect on the higher demand.
So, you by the way, you've got some beautiful peonies over there.
Yeah.
Can you tell?
That is the time of.
Yeah, it's the time of the
year.
peonies. Now we can see it. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
And also that also influence actually all the bulk prices as well. The peony prices. It's a very late year this year.
That the weather has of course been always very unpredictable, but this year especially it has been very cool in the first 5 months of the year, which has caused the delay not only in the tulip flowers, as you could have seen maybe if you watched the previous shows with one of my colleagues, Dirk Jan Haakman. And even this week we still saw some fields with the last tulips which were not debudded yet, which is absolutely 2 weeks later than previous years.
Yeah.
But because of this cold weather, the peonies have also been delayed, and the first varieties from the Dutch product have been harvested from the greenhouses, of course, plastic house as well as cold glass house. But now the outdoor field production is starting to. The first early varieties are just showing some color, but now. Actually, today the weather has changed for the good, and most likely the higher temperatures will continue in the coming period, which causes a tremendous production boost, and that might affect the availability of peony, because the peonies also have extreme high price level. And the material what you see behind me is actually not coming from Holland, but it comes from France. And the France production, of course, is earlier than the Dutch because the temperature is a bit different. But they could stretch that production a little longer this year, and could have a benefit of the price level.
Yeah, I mean, and you sent me some pictures, and they look fantastic. I mean,
this is A plus quality, and especially the size, the head sizes, and the tremendous intense colors. That is really one of the things that the people see. This is one of the pictures I took from one of the people that we work in together with in Lilies and More. Production. This comes then from France production, and the majority of the Dutch production is still to come. So they have. The possibility there to have flowers in a longer stretch by starting with the Italian material, continue to France, then the Dutch material, and then they have another possibility nowadays, which is the use of the ultra low oxygen boxes, which is a possibility for the peony grower to stretch the time that they can sell their peonies. And because if everybody has peonies, let's say in the 2-3 weeks time from now, of course there is a tremendous amount of flowers that comes to the market, and 9 times out of 10 that has a result on the price level. And if you are able to store your bulbs, and it is not an ABC, it is definitely a very difficult technique, and a lot of growers tried it, but some of them already canceled it because it is really trial and error. And the people that put a lot of effort and time in it have been successful with it now. And you see peonies coming all the way up to September sometimes. And then, of course, the possibility is there to get the new peonies from the Southern Hemisphere, from production from Chile or from New Zealand.
Yeah, that's something that really changed in the last, I think it's 10 years. Now with the availability almost year round. I mean, like you can see here, Holland is still waiting on better weather. Luckily,
this was this week, and there is a group of people that is standing in the field with the rain coats and boots and everything, and they're just processing the side shoots from the main shoot that makes the bigger flower in the end, of course. That is one of the jobs that need to be done. But the weather change can definitely affect that as well. Because if it goes too rapid, too fast, then there is less time to do that.
Yeah, and also the ultra low oxygen. It's something new, but something that's already there in the apples for quite a while, of
It
course.
started in fruit and it continued in lily bulbs as well, because there is a ULO storage of lily bulbs as well. And several growers are very successful with it, and others prefer the use of bulb from the southern hemisphere.
Yeah.
So it is a bit of both. Some people use both as well.
Okay. So what happens? You take away the oxygen or take it to a minimum level, which makes the maturing process slowing down.
Yeah, slow down. Yeah.
Yeah.
And because of that, the bulbs are in a higher quality to use instead of the traditional storage.
Yeah. Wow, that's great. I mean, you took so many pictures of the peonies here. It's just harvest, waiting to be
Yeah.
processed. I mean,
Yeah, and one of those boxes contains, depending a bit on the variety, but let's say between 4,000 to 5,000 stems. The transport, the storage. In the past, some people didn't have any storage; they just had to process every day what they had and bring to the clock.
yeah.
Sometimes you see a tremendous decrease in price level because of the tremendous volumes of flowers that were all of a sudden to the market.
Yeah.
And now they can control that a bit better with the cooling facilities that they have nowadays. And it is, the technique is one of the things that is gaining on us.
Yeah.
The older you get, the more technique there comes. But, it's one of the things we cannot do without. That's for sure.
No, I mean, like you said, also, I mean, the peony growers now they've got so much bigger the last years. So it's almost impossible to bring the whole volume just in one go to the market.
No, the material what I showed you in the pictures I sent you, that comes from high-end quality growers. It's a company Groot en Groot, and we work together with them in many ways.
Yeah.
They don't want to be the biggest; they go for the best, and that definitely helps out as well. And I also know growers that have a tremendous volume, and they might even grow maybe up to 40 hectares of peony, but then it's more difficult to have the same end quality level than a smaller grower which is going for the high end.
Yeah, I mean, the cutting stage is so important with peonies. I mean, I think still so many people get disappointed when they were cut too green.
That is the biggest point the customer satisfaction is one of the things that people really need. Unfortunately, what you just mentioned, the too early harvesting of peony flowers can cause tremendous disappointments, and those people you won't see back for a bunch of peony again then.
No.
So we have to be careful in how tight we are accepting the material to be sold.
Yeah. So we already gone to so many subjects, but tell me more about yourself, where you come from. I mean, you're born and raised between the bulbs. I think.
More or less.
and tell us more about Lilies and More.
Now, the thing is that Lilies and More, I joined that in November 2019. Previous to that, let's say, I'm 51 years old now, and my father was a bulb grower and a flower grower, and we had a family of 5, 3 more brothers and 1 sister, and they are none of us continued the company of my father.
Okay.
And then in early 90s, I decided to make a step into flower bulb export company, and then I worked for several companies until September 2019, and then I decided to start to team up with Mr. Piet Koopman. And Piet is a senior, well-known in the industry. He did a tremendous amount of new development into new countries. He started with some people with 1 or 2 boxes, and then Piet was able to make the people enthusiastic and show them possibilities. and that really created in several countries. Vietnam, for instance, he has a very good name over there. And then Piet is touching 70 this year, and he approached me and then he asked me if I was willing to work together with him. And then I thought I had a rather large network of people that I know and companies I know and where to go to if I need some information. The group of people Piet knows is I think triple the size mine. He's a bit older than me, so he has a bit of an advantage there. But end of the day, we work together in a very positive way, and we take the best from each other. And I learn from his contacts and his ideas, and every now and then he can learn a little bit from me as well.
Yeah,
so that's good.
That's really great. But it's called Lilies and More. So it's because you started out with lilies and then more.
The main item was always lilies. That is what we've been working in the last, let's say, 20 years. Both of us, tremendous volumes of lilies. But since we visited so many different companies, we also noticed that there is demand for other items. And if we are on the farm and we people that are willing to use lilies as well as tulips, as well as hyacinths or daffodil or any other item that comes by, and we know where to go to get this quality product and share the knowledge in how to grow it. Then why wouldn't we also use some other items? And that's one of the reasons why it was called Lilies and More. And more is a very wide thing. It is involving different type of flower bulbs, but also seeds and also equipment and machinery.
Okay, so it's helping the grower with everything possible almost.
The thing is that nowadays when we visit people, that not only in Holland, and one of the things that Holland is always in having an advantage over other countries is that the cost of labor in our country is so high. And that has always triggered people for new technologies and new developments in order to have less labor necessary in order to do the work. You see it with the bunching machines, you see it with the planting machines, you see it nowadays with there are so many different innovation in greenhouse, but also outdoor production of flowers as well as flower bulbs. If you look 40, 50 years back, everything was still handwork, and nowadays it is big changes there. And what we noticed as well is that you see some countries, even not even in Holland, but other countries, they have a shortage of labor force, and then they are looking for possibilities for a better way to still have the work done, and in a possible way. The machine that you see now in the movie is a planting machine, which is it is a half automatic machine. It's a robot which is driving forward, and the drill system is making the holes, and the person who is on the planting machine has to fill the holes, and behind there the gaps will be covered again. They come to a production which is still continuing, and the advantage is that machine is continuing. There is no time to smoke. There is no time to sit on the telephone. That is all bringing benefits, of course.
And I mean also
there is also uniformity of work, because the drill makes the gap as deep as it always is, and when you do it by hand, and I don't know if you did some planting work by yourself in the past. I have, but in the beginning of the day you're very enthusiastic, but by the time it reaches 5 or 5:30, then the gap that you have to make is less deep than the one that you make in the morning, because it's just tiring, of course.
Yeah, it really is. So that's just the way it is, but now you can change it, and the half automatic.
That's one of the reasons why even in some countries we said, okay, even though it might be a big investment, it might still be worth it. And then people ask our opinion in it, and we find the right companies that have the possible technology available, and then in the end you make two people happy.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. So you see, this one was half automatic. The labor costs in Holland are very high, so or almost the highest in the production world of flowers. So if it's fully automatic there in Holland, it's worthwhile buying a full automatic. But if you look at other countries, half automatic will be maybe or probably will even be better for them.
No, yeah, that's of course we think that the market for half automatic machinery in this part is still in baby steps. This is a machine that has been developed in the last, let's say, 7-8 months. There is, I think, 2 or maybe 3 machines which are operative at the moment. And I already have a few more people that showed interest. But yeah, the thing is, if you see this and you see the capacity of the machine and the uniformity of work, but if you can do the work in an easier way, and then there is a possibility to have the financial, if you have the financial abilities to buy a machine like this, I think it is safe from 2 sides.
Yeah, no, I mean that's great. But it's not only the planting machine, because I think steaming the soil is coming up as well. That's a huge thing. I mean, sustainability, less use of chemicals. It's a worldwide subject. So
absolutely. And then the thing is, and that is what we've noticed through the years, especially abroad, Far East, that for instance the ban on metal hybrid. Metal bromide, has seriously affected the possibility of growers, because there is not enough or the right chemicals available to maintain a healthy level in the soil.
Yeah.
Nematodes is one of the issues. Weeds is another problem. Definitely other bacteria and fungi. And by steaming, it is, in my opinion, a very reliable way of cleaning your soil, and have a much better possibilities for the rooting development. And in our way, if we look at the flower bulbs, especially a good rooting system, if you have a good rooting system, the plant can withstand tremendous amounts of stress. And if you have issues in the soil, then definitely you will see it. You see here in Vietnam, this is steaming with a tube, and then the plastic goes over the top. That is each bay they steam separately.
Okay.
It's a continuous process, and that goes with low pressure steam with a very high temperature. And the technique is there, and the possibilities are there. The only thing is because of the ban on flying, it is difficult to explain to people and to show the people how things are done. And nowadays, the company that we work with is starting to develop new equipment. And some people are looking at for instance, the possibility to have the weeds killed in the top layer, whether it's for vegetable production, whether it's for flower production. The latest scoop that I might give you is that there is this company is also working to the how do you call it, soccer team in the UK, and cleaning or steaming the pitch on the field of a FA club, and that is monitored very, very well by all the other English teams. And if this works, then less chemicals are needed, and the intensity on how many games are played on those fields, they need a very, very healthy pitch. And the steaming is definitely a very good way to help that out. Other things what we see, for instance, is in Israel, we saw it, that the people are using the steam because the government is also banning more and more chemicals. And nowadays the government also created some possibility for funding for the growers to they have a percentage of funding possibilities if the people invest in a new steaming machine. Now, that is of course a very good thing, and that is a step forward, because the people see that the end result is definitely better than they did with chemicals.
I mean, that's great. And the steaming machine, it doesn't have to be a huge machine. This one is a mobile one as well.
The possibility for the mobile units is for a lot of countries the best. Why? Because the Dutch growers, they have their own heating source in the greenhouse, the boiler, and from there they can connect the steam. But abroad, the possibilities are not always there. The heating is free of charge, which come from the normal nature. But the disinfection of the soil, we call it the hot steam is the cheapest way nowadays to clean your soil. And the possibilities and the investment on the steam in the beginning, they seem a bit high, but it comes so quickly towards you financially. We see a very, very good future in steaming the soils instead of using chemicals.
I mean, it's better for everything. It's better for the environment. For the soil as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a great thing. But I like how you work together with the growers, not only selling flower bulbs and say good luck and hopefully see you next year, but you're helping them out.
There's too many people that do that already, John, and that is one of the things that I like too much.
No, but it's good that like Piet was doing as well, helping out from I mean 2 crates and growing out to a good company and I mean in Holland we grow tulips and lilies for generations, and still we have new things coming up, and that we're surprised what's happening now. But if somebody starts in another country far away and doesn't have the knowledge yet, you need to help those people.
That's what we always tend to do. The eyes and the ears of the people, and they have to be able to trust you on what you are advising.
Yeah.
And if, for instance, you see the picture, we do some checking on the field of the stocks we bought, and then we want to see the quality. We go with the grower into the field, and we do some estimations in regards to the numbers together and the healthiness. You look at the root systems, you look at the general condition of the crop. But even then, even if you look at it in this stage, this is September, beginning of September. And still, by the harvesting period, you can be surprised that your estimations can be off by 10, maybe 15%. That is, of course, one of the things that nature is always the one in charge and not us. Even if we do everything required to make a good and a healthy crop, the weather influences is one of the things that is uncontrollable.
Yeah, and I mean it's unbelievable that you say, and there's a lot of panic at the moment in the bulb market, saying, okay, there's a lot of demand, there's not enough bulbs, the bulbs are not growing well, but you're saying now we don't know yet because there's no harvest yet, so maybe we can say it's not going to be a great year, but we're not.
The thing is that even if you ask 100 different growers, everybody comes with a different answer, and because of the weather influence, some people say that the growing curve, will be a bit shorter, especially for the tulips. But it doesn't say that even the 10 days delay that we have is also going to be very effective on the end result in the harvest. Because if we don't have an extreme hot period in June and maybe the beginning of July, then the tulip will continue to grow.
Yeah. Okay.
So it is, the machine decides 9 times out of 10 if there is a very good crop, a normal crop, or a poor crop. And the poor crop you can see because then you have much more damage in the fields because of night frost or water damage or stuff like that. That is what we don't see too much this year.
Okay.
The frost has affected some crops, especially east part of the country, but you cannot say that there is a tremendous loss because of this.
Yeah. And I mean, for the tulips, they're going to harvest in a month or so. And for the lilies, they're going to harvest in almost half a year.
September, October. So it's very difficult to say with the lilies how the yield will be.
Yeah.
One thing is, and that is one of the few senior growers told me that the development in the business has also surprised them that prior to planting in the month of March, they sold 90% of the full crop what they were still to plant.
Yeah.
That is one of the things that is not normal, and that is due to the reduction in acreage. And over the last 3-4 years, lily production in total combined in Holland and France, estimations are that it is between 20 to 25% reduction.
Okay.
In 4 years time, that is a tremendous amount of bulbs which are not available in the market anymore, of course.
Yeah. But is there more in the Southern Hemisphere? Because that happened either 10, 20 years ago.
Correct, but they had also a few years that they had a surplus of bulbs.
Yeah.
Market situation was not too good. Then COVID year came on top of that, so also they decided to slow down and to have a little bit reduction in material. They made big steps forward quality-wise, because in the past there were issues regarding viruses, and I think that is more or less covered. But on the other side, the Dutch growers, they are also they need to watch their material in regards to the viruses as well.
Yeah.
Because those things are continuing. We saw it in tulips, in lilies. The first indications for the new crop show some issues as well, and that is worrying.
Yeah. Yeah, we heard with the interview in the fields that this year was a good year for looking for viruses, because the flowers were flowering so long, so you could go twice through a field. So which is really good. Hopefully that will be the same in the lilies as well.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, but a lot of people, when I talk with people in the bulb industry, they say it's going to be 1 week later, 2 weeks later. But what does it mean for my mom who's buying a bunch of tulips next year? Is the bunch of tulip available 10 days later as well next year?
That is one of the things that is a rough indication, but the stage G, that is the important moment where tulip can start the artificial cooling moment. That is expected to be later as well. And the first Dutch flowers, the fresh Dutch flowers, that come from the plastic covered tulips, they will be ready, I think, again in the month of November. But then there might be a small gap between the first normal planted ones and plastic tulips. So then mid-December, Christmas, January, I don't think we have a tremendous production already. The beginning of January, I think the volumes will start pushing.
Yeah, just for the people who don't know, stage G, that's the moment when the whole tulip has formed itself in the bulb already.
Yeah, it formed itself, and you can look at with the binoculars to see the stage G. And the moment that is reached, then the people can start giving the artificial cooling, because in the end you trick the tulip, because the normal flowering time is now what we see outdoor on the fields, of course.
Yeah.
And to achieve earlier planting, they have the artificial cooling, which is definitely this year. Also, starting at least 1 or 2 weeks later.
Yeah, and is there a way to speed things up, or is it just this is what nature gives us, and that's how we work with it?
There were people that say you have to heat up your greenhouse, but in the end, it doesn't give the result, because the harvesting time is just not going to be there. Cutting corners in tulips, in my opinion, it never worked out.
Okay, so it's delivered, the bulb is delivered, everything is ready, the flower is ready, and it just flower, or of course in the greenhouse, but you can do tricks, but in the end it will only cost you quality.
That is 9 times out of 10 the main reason of the problem. Yeah.
Okay. So that's for tulips. Maybe there will be a small gap or overlaps, but if all the growers know,
it can be a possibility, but it depends as well on how their program is made up, John. If there is people that have a continuous program that have to deliver in the contract, the bigger volumes that go to the European supermarkets is 9 times out of 10 those contracts do not start before Christmas.
Yeah,
they start in the first week of January and or the second week sometimes even. And that continues, and that's what we see more and more until, now let's say, even the month of April, and in this month of May, still a lot of tulips were processed.
Yeah.
There's still some growers that have indoor tulips in a big volume, and they are very happy because they make very, very good prices.
Yeah, I mean, it's I've been doing that as well, but tulip is until the end of the season, and even if that's the end of May, it's one of the best lines running in supermarkets.
Yeah, at the moment it still is. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean that's great, of course. On one hand, you want to keep it as a seasonal product, but on the other hand, if there's such a demand, maybe because we know that it's really a seasonal product, but other people just want to, seems like they want to have it longer. Like,
Year round sometimes, and of course in tulips there is also the possibility to use the material from the southern hemisphere, from Chile and New Zealand. But again, the demand in Europe for tulips in July and August is not as high. And I know from a couple of my friends that work in the US, they say, for instance, in the period of September and October, there's tremendous demand for tulips in the US. And this is one of the reasons why big volumes from Chile and New Zealand are going straight up to the growers over there.
Yeah, I already directly get a reaction, tulips year round, with a big smile.
Yeah.
Person from the US.
Yeah, but that is, I understand that, and that comes into the situation that for Dutch people, a tulip is a seasonal.
Yeah.
For people around the world, a tulip is a tulip. It may reflect to Holland, but it still reflects not to them as a seasonal.
Yeah, I sometimes compare it with fruits. I mean, there are certain fruits in Holland that we eat year round, and other people around in other countries think that's a seasonal product, but we want to have it year round.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, so that's a bit how I think it works. I was also surprised that people were buying tulips year round. I was thinking peonies year round. Will it work out? You can see it works out fantastic.
Yeah, but that is, I think, as well one of the reasons. Like in, let's say, 10, 15 years ago, the amount of available peonies was very low. Of course, there were not tremendous volumes available. This is also one of the reasons why supermarkets never touched it. Nowadays, if you look at the volume that goes through the supermarket channel, in good peony, it can't fit in the auction anymore. Right?
No, it's unbelievable. And then the funny thing is with peonies, supermarkets are not willing to make exceptions. But supermarkets are willing to make an exception because they know the season can start early May. But now we're talking about the season starts early June.
Yeah, there was in our area was an advertisement from one of the supermarkets that already had a very interesting offer on peonies. But I think that was a very a tricky offer.
Yeah,
that's all due to the weather. But of course, when they make advertisement, then it has to be printed maybe a week or 10 days before already, and that is in the program. So the supplier had to pull a few tricks, I think, in order to get the quality and the volume in.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, that's why luckily some supermarkets know it and play with it. I mean, I see people still fighting when the peonies come in. They don't get even of the trolley, and people
correct.
grab them. I mean, that's. But that's also the charm of a seasonal product, and that's why I was thinking, okay, maybe for weddings it's good peonies, but you see that it's such a popular and beautiful product that people want to have it year round.
That is one of the things. You get more and more competition of other items, and that is in the beginning. We also saw, for instance, several growers that 100% only lilies, and then through the years they noticed that they need other crops with it as well in order to be interesting enough for their buyer. And that is a change, which is, I think, for several companies being for the good. Like if they start increasing to buy more glass and to increase the availability amount of square meters, or is it reducing the amount of lilies in the same amount of square meters and planting another item? That has been happening over the years as well. In Europe, several areas, Italy, Spain, Portugal, and don't plant the same quantities what they used to plant, of course, and that has changed. And nowadays, because of the high price of the flowers in the Dutch auction, also those people are waking up and say, hey, maybe it's interesting to start growing lilies again. It always seems that when the material gets expensive, then more people are showing interest in it, and if it is if going down the drain, then nobody is interested in it.
No, that's totally true, and I mean. But that's what you see abroad as well. If you have to do your own sales, Holland, we've got the auction, so it's easy to bring your product to the auction. and you can ship it worldwide, and then it's easy to get rid of your product.
The main thing, and that is what we see over the years when we were traveling all around the world. If you have to sell your own product and you also have to collect your own money, you be more careful than the people that are just producing and sending it to the clock, and then every other week they receive the money on the account from the bank. Yeah, that is a very unique situation that the Dutch growers have, and they should be very, very thankful for that. The logistics, Holland is known for their logistics. If you sell your peonies or your lilies or your tulips to the clock, the same day or in the evening, the trucks are driving out, and 24 hours later you can see it in a shop, whether it's in the south of Italy or whether it's in Turkey. It doesn't make a difference. The logistics part is one of the things that the Dutch are famous about, and let's keep that high level, because in the end the industry is contributing from it. If you're abroad and your flowers have to travel maybe overnight in order to reach the next marketplace, and then collecting your money, the things are a bit more complicated in other countries than it is in our country.
That's what Les was saying as well. Flower prices are very low here in India due to the lockdown, and that's what you get in a region where Dutch people have export. So if one country was open, they can still send it. But if you're in producing local and you have a problem there, then it's really difficult.
But that I think is one of the things that is definitely influenced by the COVID nowadays. And if you're hit by that local rule, and local in Holland is the full country, but local in a country like India, it can be a region. But if you cannot transport anything there, then your money is floating through your fingers, and there's not much you can do about it.
The other thing is they can switch quite quickly if they see the market. There's no demand for dark pink lilies. They can say, okay, for next year I need to go more to light pink or whites or things like that. They hear more from their customers than they hear through the auction.
Direct feedback is there.
So I think that's an important thing as well, of course, for them. And also the feedback they get from Holland, I think it's really important as well. What's going on in the Dutch market? Are there new developments? Like you said, with the planting machine, things like that. That really helps. So if you want to know more about bulbs that's happening in Holland, and you're watching as a grower, liliesandmore.com. I will help you out.
Always happy to help you out, and then we'll see where we can take it from there. But always with the possibility, and hopefully possibilities to meet each other face to face again, and fly all over the world again.
I think that's also the most important, or maybe not the most important thing, but just to get in with your hands into the soil.
Correct. Direct contact with the people, and sitting down, looking each other in the eye and shaking each other's hand, and say, okay, we have a deal and we continue doing it.
And also in terms of how things are growing, what's going wrong. I mean, if they take a detailed picture of a bulb and say, something is wrong, what's happening in the greenhouse,
that is very difficult to say from a distance. Like we always say, when it is a mix of a variety, and there is a red tulip in the yellow tulips, and then it's very easy. But if it is not growing, or there is a part of it is not growing, that can be caused by so many different reasons. And if you don't have the possibility to visit the greenhouse or the garden or the place where the people grow their material, then it's very difficult to judge. And even then, even with all the experience Mr. Piet Koopman have and I have, we not always have the answer, because some things are really very, very difficult to explain if you don't have the full picture.
If you're not there all the time and you don't know what happened.
What has been the previous crop? What have been the salt levels in the soil? If there is no analysis of the soil, and they just plant a very expensive crop, for instance, like peony or lilies. And in the end, the bulbs are no good. In the end of the day, it starts with your soil. Where are you going to grow? So do your analysis, and if you cannot have it analyzed in your own country, send the material to Holland. We can analyze it here. We give you a detailed information in what needs to change. And sometimes an answer is not what you want to hear, but we sometimes have to tell people, please do not plant on this soil. And they have the field available, but we said don't do it because you end up in trouble.
Yeah. No, but better to know it on forehand than planting it there and then trying all your best to make it work, but it will never work.
That is what is 9 times out of 10 in the end, of course, the end result. And the people are then in a very negative mood and not willing to continue doing flower bulbs. And sometimes they blame the supplier, sometimes they blame the variety, but in the end of the day, they have to look in the mirror and say, okay, did we do everything okay?
Yeah, it's so much.
And every now and then, people need to be shaken up as well. Eh?
Yeah, and that's the pity that we can't travel, and you can just finger point. Okay, this is going right. This should change a bit, so to get an optimal result.
Correct.
And let's hope we can travel soon again, and so you can visit the customers and give them some great advice.
Positive feedback.
Yeah, I mean that's really important, and let's hope they will make just as much money as they did this year. For the people who did it right. I think the future looks bright because everybody is or knows now what a positive effect a bunch of flower has in the house.
Yeah.
So let's hope we can keep it that way.
No, let's hope that we keep. If we have 50% of what we have now, the increase in demand and price, I think majority of the people will be very, very happy.
Yeah, I'm totally agreeing on that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Arjan, I want to thank you very much for explaining us what's going on and also to tell more about Lilies and More. I mean,